Saturday and Sunday, October 5th and 6th at the Honda Casino Resort in Pine Top, Arizona. 1028 Productions and Whispering Pines Resort Cabins is proud to present Disclosure Con 2019. The one event in the White Mountains where sci-fi and sci-reality collide under one roof. There will be vendors, photo ops, cosplay characters, speakers, artists, YouTube celebs, researchers, and more. Scheduled to appear, President Dwight D. Eisenhower's great-granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower. Published author, inventor, and host of X Square Radio, Brooks Agnew. Hosts of the YouTube hit show, Edge of Wonder, Ben Chastain and Rob Counts. Creator of the children's shows, Grow'ems and Friendlyans, Joel Christopher Payne. Actress, model, musician, and ufologist speaker Paula Asteria. Host of The Leak Project, the legend himself, Rex Bear. Award-winning Sholo MUFON director, David Loomis. Leading paranormal researcher from the UK, Don Phillips. Creator and host of the SciSpy.tv network, Suzanne Ross. From the YouTube show Mysterious Forces Live, Natasha Nix. From the SciSpy TV network show World Stompers, Brad Olson. Directors of Arizona MUFON and Phoenix MUFON, Stacy Wright and Jim Mann. And from the show 1028 Live and your host for Disclosure Con 2019, Doc Skinner. For more info, tickets, or VIP passes, please go to disclosurecon.com. You can also purchase tickets or VIPs at Big Kid Gamer Lounge in Lakeside, Arizona. VIP pass holders receive early access both days of entry to VIP after party Saturday night at the legendary Lodge Bar and Grill in Pine Top with our guest speakers and DJ Jay Allen playing music all night. Entry is Sunday night's fireside chat with our guest speakers and you. Get your tickets or VIP passes now. Here we go. We are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Doc Skinner with 1028 Live. How are you? It is Thursday. Whoop, someone's already jumping on. It's Thursday, September 26, 2019. And I got an amazing guest. I'll tell you, I got amazing guests all the time. And this is the first time I think I will be doing possibly 6 shows in a week. So I'm running a marathon. And real quick, I would like to give a huge shout out, thank you to the volunteer crew that has been tirelessly in a short amount of time building some of the most amazing sets for the photo area that you're gonna be blown away. And yes, the Millennium Falcon is coming back. We were able to put it back together today. Today was a dress rehearsal. It was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to what you're gonna see. I've got Joel Young from Sweet Peas Infusion Cafe right now in the shop doing some airbrushing on a portal vortex, you might say. So a lot of cool things in the works. Almost done, almost less than 2 weeks away. And I want to give big shout outs to everybody that's involved, my sponsors and my speakers and my vendors. We're going to start off with our photographer who's going to be there, Mike Mahoney from Mike Mahoney Photography. Go check out MikeMahoneyPhotography.com. His images are amazing. So if you're into cosplay or dressing up, come on out. He'll get some amazing shots. I guarantee it. Our guest speakers, I'm going to hold off one because we got them coming on the show in just a little bit here. We've got Star Trek actress from the new Star Trek Picard, Paula Asteria. She's also a musician, actress, model, and ufologist speaker. She's going to be here. She's going to be speaking. Brad Olson and Emily Infinity from the show World Stompers. David Loomis from Sholo MUFON. He's the Sholo MUFON director up here on the mountain. Don Phillips, #1 paranormal investigator in the UK. Uh, you've got to see it to believe it. It's amazing, this man and what he's got to say. Then, of course, we've got President Dwight D. Eisenhower's great granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower. She's going to be here. She's going to be speaking. Natasha Nix from Mysterious Forces Live. Rex Bear from the Leak Project. Robert Counts. I'm sorry. Robert Counts and Ben Chastain from Edge of Wonder. Stacy Wright and Jim Mann from Arizona State MUFON. Suzanne Ross, founder of the SciSpy.tv network. And then our sponsors, Amy Rogers from Maverick Magazine, Simon from the Best Western and the Green Tree Inn, Steve at the Big Kid Gamers Lounge, where you can get your tickets for Disclosure Con right now, Darmar Productions and Sholo Film Festival, Home Depot. Big shout out to Home Depot. John and his team have been just amazing. Every time I do an event, they have been there to help. And if you want good service, Home Depot, go there, check them out in Sholo. Of course, our biggest sponsor, other than my mom, Jessica Stevens with GSD Studios, Joel with Sweet Peas Infusion Cafe, my dear friend Evan Lear, who the owner of the Lodge Bar and Grill, where the VIP party will be next Saturday night. Pursuing X, we'll just say that they like to keep it on the down low. Whispering Pines Cabin Resort, White Mountain Teas, Chris LaPrath. Now we're on the vendors. Chris LaPrath, Clifford Mahoney, Duhan James, who's a UFO artist from New Mexico. And this one, which I'm really proud to announce, we've got an actual employee from Area 51 and a designer of the SR-71 Blackbird, Jim Goodall, who's going to be there at the event. But here's the other kicker. I just found out an hour ago, he's going to be on my 5th show this week, tomorrow night, here at 7 o'clock on 1028 Live. Also, John Ferris Visionary Art. Just look it up. John Ferris, Farris, visionaryart.com, and just see what he's going to be bringing. Kesslyn Louise Baird, from Down Under, Australia. She's up here, and she's going to be holding some sessions both days, Saturday and Sunday, starting at 9 a.m. The first two at 9 a.m. Saturday and Sunday will be a experiencers group session. So you can come in there, safe space, no recordings, no snickering, anything like that. Everybody supports everybody, and you can tell your stories in a safe place. And then she's also going to be doing another special presentation, which I'll have her explain more about that at the event on Sunday. Also, Louis Alcantar, he has a book coming out, or it has a book out, and he'll have a booth. If you like a walk on the wild side, we have Nightfire Tattoos is going to be there. So if you really want to commemorate DisclosureCon 2019, there you go. Dr. Quilla Ryder, she'll be there. Raymond's Ray Guns, Renewal by Anderson, My Fairy Tale. All of them are going to be there. I think it's 32 booths and speakers and all that. So it's going to be huge. Get your tickets now, like I said, at Big Kid Gamer Lounge, the Lodge Bar and Grill, Sweet Peas Infusion, or online at disclosurecon.com. Please go to the Facebook, share the videos with everybody you know, share the invites to the events. This is going to be a blowout year. Next year is even going to be bigger. We've already got the dates for next year booked. It's October 3rd and 4th, Saturday and Sunday at the Honda Casino Resort again. And we already got speakers lining up. So we will be able to give you the lineup a lot sooner next year for 2020. And it's going to be a very special year, I could say, because something very, very special is being worked on for this special year. So get your tickets now. Now, on to the show. I have a very special guest. He is going to be speaking at DisclosureCon. He's also the creator of Friendly. Hold on a minute. I've been talking so much. Hold on. Oh, yeah, it's better. So he's the creator of Friendlians, which is a new cartoon series that's a phone app as well, where there are short segments, cartoon segments, teaching children to be good. It's an amazing, amazing project, and I'm so honored that he let me be a part of it. And um, not only that, he's the creator of Groms. He's worked on the Mortal Kombat game. He's been a director in 3D animation. And I'm watching his video, so I'm hoping he'll shake his head no or not if I'm doing good. Um, uh, so many things, a lot of it in CGI and 3D animation with studio backlots and stuff. I will have him explain all that to you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, Joel Christopher Payne.
Hey, Doc, how's it going? Thanks for having me on your show. As you can see, I am in deep space right now on the Friendly and Mothership. And yeah, I've had a very long career working in the entertainment business. It goes all the way back to when I turned 21 and started in the video game industry right on my birthday, actually. And around then, there was a couple, I think 16 colors on computers back then. And we've come a long way since then. So, we could talk about anything you want. I've a 28-year career making video games, designing them, art directing them, doing voiceovers, animation. I've held 30 professional occupations in the entertainment business at the highest level in movies, television, games, and rides. Built a ride for Spielberg, built a ride for Disney Imagineering. We could talk about that. Or if you want to talk about Friendlians, we could talk about that. That's obviously something we're going to do in Disclosure Con, and you are a Friendlian. So I turned you into a Friendlian. So
I
we can talk
know.
about that if you want.
Yeah,
That's
I
fun.
want
That
to
was
talk
fun.
about it all. I mean, the fact that you fulfilled a lifelong dream of mine. I was this close to being a major cartoon character for your company that you work for, and unfortunately, things didn't work out. And it's always been a dream of mine, and you brought that to fruition, and I'll always be forever grateful for that.
Yeah,
Because he's damn cute.
I did. I mean, I made a quirky, cute little character that I named Doc. Why not? And name it after the person it's based on. And we talked about what sort of a subject we'd want to do, and we picked the topic of how to deal with being a good loser.
Yeah.
And what's the value of failing? Because I've certainly had my share of losing and failing in my career, and I've always taken a kind of a different approach. Instead of crying about my failures, instead I looked at those as opportunities to learn from my mistakes. And I work with the Disney company as a Disney fine artist. So having worked with Disney in three different mediums, I first started with them with Imagineering, building the attractions, and then got into art directing one of their video games, Disney's Atlantis back in the day. And now I'm a Disney fine artist. I'm one of the most contracted Disney fine artists, actually. Um, and between all of those different things, working with the Disney company, I just kind of followed Walt's footsteps in terms of how he approached failure, and he failed a lot. Everybody thought he was crazy. Everybody thought that he was a lunatic for doing the things he was doing, and of course, he was right about everything. And created one of the most powerful entertainment
Hmm.
company in the world. And so I looked at what he did when he failed, and he just kind of one of his famous quotes is, sometimes you need a good kick in the teeth to kind of push you in the right direction. And after he had Oswald taken from him because he didn't understand copyright laws, and his team disappeared, and he was working for somebody else with that, he made a promise that he would never work for another person ever again. And he didn't. He built his empire. And so with Friendlians, I wanted to kind of do the same thing. We have some really amazing toy technology that I debuted specifically at your uh, convention last year, and it was a massive success. We had a lot of people show up for it. And a little $5 device that allows toys to talk to each other forever. Toy Story for real.
Hmm.
So I'm literally picking up where Disney left off on audio animatronics with this toy technology. But it takes millions of dollars to get something like that funded, and I have no credentials in the toy industry per se. Even though I've been in the entertainment business, we've had a lot of toys made from things that I've worked on. But nobody's going to hand me the money. So I had this great idea of, well, what did I really want to do with that tech? I wanted to use these toys to teach children good things and to use the technology for good. The TV has been used for good and bad, but we've got PBS out there, and Mr. Rogers was one of those bright shining gems on TV that really took that, and with a small budget inspired generations of kids, and grew up into great adults that remember those messages. So I thought, I could use this for good. I can come up with a really good lesson series that would get kids excited about being good. But coming from the video game industry, I approached it a lot different than how maybe Disney or Mr. Rogers or even Sesame Street would do it, in that instead of like, being preachy and browbeating kids over the head with maybe trying to just entertain them with something, instead I thought, well, to get kids to go in the right direction, I need to inspire them to go my way. A lot of parents, you got parents that talk down to their kids. You got kids that are abused, and parents, I gave my kid a little camera one time. One of my daughters, I gave her a camera, and she took a picture of me. It was like the first picture, and from her angle, I look like a giant. I mean, I'm 6'4" to begin with, so, but to her, the perspective was I was this giant person, and very overwhelming, very intimidating.
Mhm.
And you never, as a parent, you never really think about that, the perspective that a child is seeing the world in. I mean, you kind of remember it from when you're a kid, but every child is going to have a different experience. So I looked at it from, how can I persuade my kids, inspire them to go my way, versus just telling them what to do, or berating them or punishing them because they didn't do it. And so one of the viral videos that really kind of sparked my approach was this one video, and maybe your audience has seen it, where there's this subway station that has a staircase, and these guys wanted to see if they can get people to take the stairs instead of the escalator, and so they painted the stairs like piano keys. And it got 40% to take the stairs, and they said, well, how can we make this even better? So they made the keys sound like the piano, and they got 70% of the people to take the stairs instead of using the electricity, and they actually got people to exercise. And if you think about it, the cost of something like that versus running this escalator nonstop, and what it does for society, getting people to to take the stairs instead because it's fun. Well, it really was kind of a light bulb moment of how I can approach things. So we had our little dialogue or script on the lesson we wanted to teach about losing, and we're actually gonna act that out in live in front of everybody. It's gonna be fun.
All right, cool. I've been holding on to that secret all this time. I'm glad you blew it out.
I did. We're gonna do it, and it's gonna be fun, and people are gonna have a blast of you and me playing out these characters, and then we're gonna show the actual end result of my work of animating it. What people don't know is I actually do literally everything on it, from nuts to bolts, on these cartoons. I mean, I model the characters, I animate them, I built the backgrounds, much like this one. I'm phasing out. Look, somebody's trying to teleport me. All right. And I voice them, I edit them, I write the stories, I go and do the research to find out the best approach on how to teach that particular subject. And then I find guys like you and other people that have volunteered to do other parts, so that it's not all me doing all the voices. And it's worked out really well, where we found, the two characters are playing a game, and your character is failing and my character is always winning. And that's a typical thing that I see my own kids deal with all the time. They'll be playing a game and it doesn't work out, and one kid feels like he failed or she failed, and they don't know how to recover from that. They don't know what to do. So I did some research, and I thought about the best way to solve that problem, and we came up with a great solution to that. And I think that was recently sent to a mutual friend of ours that's a known celebrity who may be helping us out on the project, and had a great meeting with her and her team, and she absolutely loved it. And I have a lot of respect for this particular actress, who will remain unnamed for now. Because she has such a good insight on how you should approach problems like that, because she's dealt with a lot of things that in her life. So to get kind of the nod from her that she loved it, and all the people that have seen it just really respond to this kind of charming way of talking about these tough subjects. I think I'm onto something. I think I'm onto something really big, and it's just a matter of getting people to take some time, spend the $2, download the app, and see what I've done. And I think it's something that just people are going to want to share it, because it's just nothing but good stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
So they can get it where now? It's the number one parenting app, but
yeah.
where can they get it?
Yeah, we actually hit the number one rated parenting app on the app stores without spending a dime on marketing, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I knew we had something good, but I didn't expect everybody to give us 5 stars and all these amazing ratings. We're not the number one downloaded one yet, and that's what we're working on. But we need marketing money for that. So I decided to just kind of keep on putting records in the jukebox. We have 52, actually, I'm sorry, 54 videos in there now, 2-minute lessons, all 3D animated. I wouldn't say they're Pixar quality, but they're certainly as good as anything you'd see on TV. I am kind of a one-man show, so it's tough to do it at that level. And we just release new cartoons every month for that one-time $2 fee, and you can get it on the Android App Store, and you can get it on iOS. You just have to put in friend, L-I-E-N-S. So it's and let me talk about the word friendlians, because it's a made-up word. It's now been recognized as an official word out there in the Urban Dictionary.
Nice.
Not that you want to be on the Urban Dictionary for it's got a lot of shady things in that dictionary, but it was accepted as an official word, and it's a made-up word, and the word is friend and aliens combined. So just take the A out of the combination, and you've got our name. So go to just friendlians, friendly aliens, friendly without the A. And our website is friendlians.club. And I did .club instead of .com because, again, I work with Disney and I'm a massive fan of Walt. You'll hear me talk about Walt all day long. And he had the Mickey Mouse Club. And I thought, yeah, this is a club. This is a club. This is a movement. It's not just a toy. It's not just a bunch of lessons. It's not, it's really just trying to get kids and parents to learn how to work together peacefully, how to get kids to work with their own peers peacefully, respecting their elders, taking care of the planet. And we do it in such a way where we really want just a whole generation to learn how to solve problems together despite our differences. You might be atheist, I might be Christian, but we can both agree that we shouldn't be poisoning the soil, air, and water that we are growing our food and drinking and breathing. Because if you think about it, if a plant's in poisoned soil and you're feeding it poisoned water and it's breathing poisoned air, that thing's poisoned 3 different ways. And if you're eating that and you're drinking the water and breathing that same air, you're poisoned 5 different ways. And we've got a rise in autism and all these different things are coming up in our society that we really have never seen happen before. And I think it's the chemistry that we're putting onto the planet and ingesting it. And we can all agree that that's like a good thing to get our teeth around, instead of the left and right battles that we see in our politics so often. We can all agree we shouldn't be poisoning these things. And let's go even further than that. Let's think about how do we make a product like this candle? How do we make this candle in such a way that it's not going to kill me and or my great grandchildren because it was put on the planet? And I don't think that's an unreasonable request, just to say we make things because they're affordable, and we make things because they're cheap and convenient, and they make our lives better. But let's add one more thing into the equation, and that's how do we make it responsibly so that we're not hurting ourselves by making it, which is what most companies never consider, because they're all about the profit and getting it out to as many people as they can. Nothing wrong with that, but you gotta have some responsibility put in there too. And you could do it cheaply. It doesn't have to be something that costs a fortune to think that way. And that's another reason why I created the Friendly Network, is to inspire a generation of kids to think outside the box and try to solve these problems, so that we're working towards a goal that everybody can be proud of. That's what the Friendly movement is really about. So I chose aliens because I'm friends with Anne Serling. Her father created a show, maybe you've heard of it, Twilight Zone. And
Yeah, I think I've heard of that one.
yeah, and I was talking to her, and I was listening to her. She has a book about her father, which is a great book. I highly recommend her book. I'm plugging her book. But it talks about, his early career, Rod Serling's early career, before he created Twilight Zone. And he was a script writer, and he's doing a teleplay, a movie that he wanted to do. And it was about this black kid that had been drugged behind a truck by some KKK members, and they got away scot-free. They got off, and he wanted to write a story about that because he felt like it was a national tragedy.
Mm.
And they, when the script got to the people that were going to greenlight it, they said, "Oh, we can't do this. We can't talk about this. You want to you want to cause riots in the streets? If we talk about this subject." It was a different time, and he said, "Well, this is what I want to do." So they actually kept on going with the script, but they turned it into kind of like Cowboys and Indians, and it became this entirely different thing. And he was so upset what they had done to his beautiful story that he said, "I'm not going to be a writer anymore. I'm done." Well, he had just had his daughter, Anne, who I know, and she was telling me this amazing story. She said, "Well, my father still had to make a living, and so he came up with this idea about a show idea where he could talk about all these moral, conundrums, these moral
Mm-hmm.
problems, and if we used aliens, the blood is green. We don't have to talk about color. We can just use aliens." So he kind of slipped under the radar with Twilight Zone. And if you look back at all those episodes, they're really talking about serious, social issues. I mean, all of them are serious human problems that we deal with every day. And a lot of those episodes are still very relevant. And that's why it's still it's still got a massive cult following, because the story still means something to people. So that's why I chose to use aliens, and so that people couldn't immediately associate these things with any particular religion or party or anything. They just couldn't attach it to anything. I just invent a new culture.
There you
And
go.
so,
Whole new universe.
yeah. So the backstory of Friendlians is quite fun. It's about their home world, and their home world is dying, and it's practically dead. This is about 500 years ago when all this stuff happened, and it looks like Mars does today. But they were all living underground, which is kind of funny because I'm playing into a lot of the things that the guys that I met last year at Disclosure Con were talking about as legitimate things. Like Mars having life, and maybe there was an ancient society that lived there at one point, and we are um, somehow, some way connected to Mars, whether we're the aliens or we were manipulated by the aliens so there's a lot of that kind of underlying conspiracy theory type stuff that's played into the back history of Friendlians. So the back history of Friendlians is really fun. So their planet is dead. They're living underground. They're waiting to die. They've spent their entire life on the planet pretty much being greedy, being warmongering, using up all the resources, kind of like us.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't think about the selflessness. They didn't think about the resources. If you go back into our own ancient history, I went down to Mexico City. I got to see the Pyramid of the Sun. It's really nothing there, but the guy that was giving me the tour was saying this used to be a lush forest and lots of animals, but the reason really why they disappeared is because they kind of exhausted the resources and just kind of they couldn't do anything. And I think that's kind of a microcosm of what's happening on our own planet. We're just consuming everything to the point of where at some point we're going to have to deal with what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the Green New Deal, controversial. I don't know how you flip so many people take away all the things that everybody's been punch drunk on. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think just inspiring people individually to make conscious decisions and choices to go in a better direction is good. So I had to create a tragedy, with these characters to kind of explain why they are so knowledgeable with all the right answers. And so their planet is failing, and just as it looks like they're going to run out of everything, and they're just on the last few seconds of their, a few months left, a more superior alien race comes and hands them this little device. I don't have one around me right now, but it's a little star, and it's about the size of a pack of gum, and it will actually be the effective housing and device that will go into the toys themselves as the toy talking mechanism. So there's actually a real world connection to what these superior aliens hand what I call them the gimmies. They're the gimmies at the time when they're met with this amazing technology. Well, the two tribal leaders, they fight over it. They're big and gluttonous, and they just decide to fight over it because it's made out of gold. And they think it's powerful, and they want to be in control. They want to be the one that has all the knowledge, and they lose it down a hole in the ground, and they're too big to get down into it. Their gluttony is so intense that they can't get down into the little hole where this thing has fallen, and they forget about it. Well, a little kid, a little baby, is small enough, and it crawls down in there, and it gets it. A little small young kid, and it goes off into the secret abandoned tunnel that's now kind of failing. And he presses the button, and it shoots up light on the ceiling and starts teaching the child amazing things like how to grow a plant. So the very first thing that this kid does is it grows a tree, and the tree grows overnight because it's a special technique and a special seed that came along with this thing. And he terraforms he gets all the other kids involved secretly, kind of like Harry Potter when he's trying to train everybody to defend themselves against well, he goes off in the secret tunnel, and they turn it into a paradise in a very short time. And they get caught. The adults in the room follow them because all the kids are gone one day. Where'd everybody go? And they discover this amazing place. And they immediately take it from the kid and demand, to know what's going on. And the two chiefs are fighting over it again. But one of the chiefs is smart enough to realize, hey, we fought over this and we didn't know what to do with it. And look at what he's done. We need to give this back to this kid, and he's going to be in charge. It caused a massive rift between the two tribes, and one tribe goes off on their own, and then the other starts supporting this effort. And they bring the planet back to life. The undertunnels come back to life. And at some point, the bad guy wants to undermine all of this because he wants to be in control, and he wants this knowledge, but he doesn't want to do it the way that they're doing it. He wants to kind of get it more in the gimme mindset, this selfish mindset. And he sees all the power. He doesn't see that it's saving them. But he steals it, creates these things called diddly bots, which basically are creatures that land on your head and make you forget everything, and he can joystick control you to do his bidding. So you're basically like a game to him, and he can control you to do what once this thing's on there, it's stealthed, you can't see it, and it's on your head, and it's patched into your neurons, and you're basically doing whatever it wants. Well, at some point, he gets caught, and he's given an ultimatum. You could become a friendlian like us, or we can jettison you to another planet. You could figure it out. Now, I'm not going to reveal what happens because that's the really big aha moment, and we hope to have this turned into a movie at some point, but that's pretty much the teaser of what I'm trying to do. And let's just say, what if I told you that the bad guy was jettisoned to Earth and they didn't know this? And all of the things that have happened on planet Earth in human history with aliens has been because this alien has been behind all of it, and the aliens are real. And that's the reason why we had Hitler, and this is the reason why we've had nuclear bombs and all these amazing things that have popped up on the planet that are killing us, because there's a bad guy here. So the whole story is about the Friendlians realizing they've made a catastrophic mistake after saving their own planet, and they come to Earth to try to make things work. Try to save humankind from, and it's the typical save the world type thing. But I've got a very clever way in the way that I handle the bad guys. I do it very differently than any other movie that's been put out. And the goal is to get kids to be inspired by what they see in the film and actually go out and do it. And of course, we've got these toys that are basically avatars to the mothership that's going around the planet that I'm on right now. And it really kind of blurs the line between fantasy and reality to get kids motivated to go in the right direction and to kind of save themselves, save the planet, be inspired to be good people, good citizens of the world, good stewards of the planet. And I think that that's a worthy, noble endeavor that's worth fighting for. So,
wow.
So yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of the Friendlian thing. So. We got a chore helper in there. I don't know about most parents, but most parents have tried to, at least attempted at some point to put a gridded board that has the stars. And if you do good things, you get the star and then you get a prize. I did away with that. I made it, I put it into the app. So now you can take a picture of your kid's messy bed, give it a point value, take a picture of the reward, or videotape you saying, hey, we're going to Disneyland. And then you could either choose to make that reward visible to the kid, or you can make it a surprise where they have to do all the chores to see what mom and dad gave them. The whole family, even if they're in different countries, can log in, create a playlist of videos that the kid can watch, or they can create a chore list for the kid and they can provide the reward. So it's 100% under the parents' control. And for $2, I'd like to think that that's actually, just that chore helper alone is worth the price of admission, because it's really kind of a weapon to get, it turns doing chores into a game, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I come from that industry. So it makes sense to me. And I've used it with my own kids. It works very well. They get excited because they don't know what they're going to get. So they want to check off those boxes. And it makes it so easy, you know, just take a picture, write a description, give a point value, and then launch it. And then they get their, they know what to do. There's no confusion. And it can change every day, or it'll reset itself the next day if they've accomplished the list. So, and we hope to have a lot of little mechanisms in the app that help parents solve these problems. One of my near short-term goals is we want to get experts in there that are talking to not just the kids and inspiring them to great career paths. Like we've got an Imagineer, Terry Harden. She's one of my dear friends. She's such a sweetheart. She's an amazing Imagineer. Just aside from being a brilliant and talented sculptor and artist, she's just like a wonderful person that I know can talk to kids. So we had her come on there, and she's a former Jim Henson puppeteer. She was she played the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in Ghostbusters and the dogs, and she puppeteered the Foster Farms chicken. Everybody knows those things. So she's really cute at getting to kids. There's a cuteness about her that just resonates with kids. So she came on the network and she did 3 videos for me. And if there are experts out there that have, really awesome jobs, contact me and we'll get you on the network. So what she did for me was this one video that we did that was really short, 5-minute video, where she was talking to parents. And the subject was, hey, you've got a kid, maybe they're into art. They're not going to be a starving artist. I know that might be a fear of a lot of parents, but let me just tell you, as a kid, I was making eggs and painting them as a kid, and I was making money right out the gate. And she's never had a problem because she's talented, and there's money to be had out there if you're talented and you're an artist. There's a million different jobs out there. It doesn't have to be you being a struggling painter. And then, so she was talking to the parents, trying to get the parents to understand, hey, encourage this. This is good. Because a lot of kids are kind of, when your parents want you to be a doctor and a lawyer, and you come to your parents and you say, hey, I'm going to be an artist, your parents kind of cringe at the idea. So we wanted to get something in there that talked to the parents about that and let them know that there is an avenue. The other video that she did was inspiring children to become an Imagineer or a Jim Henson puppeteer. I mean, she's had 2 of the most awesome jobs you could possibly have that every kid would dream to have. And she's done that. So we had her do that video, and that goes into our future category where we have all these other experts talking about their jobs. And then we wanted to have something, a trick, technique that teaches the child something cool. So she disappeared out of the interview for a second and came back with a little sock on her hand. And she's like, have you ever had like a missing sock? You got the rogue sock. Well, I could show you how to turn this into a character. So she jams her hand into it, and then she flips it over, and it's got eyes and it's got a mouth. She's totally having this conversation with herself. And she's half black and half white. She's got dreadlocks, and when she was a kid, she was picked on for being different. A lot of kids out there, they're different, and they get picked on. Maybe they got freckles or blotches on their face because they got the disease that changes your skin, or maybe you're missing a limb, or maybe you've got Down syndrome, maybe you're autistic. You're going to get picked on for that stuff. And so she, as a kid, got picked on, and she would do that with her sock and have a little buddy that she can talk to. And it allowed her to kind of cope with a lot of the things that she was dealing with. And, stuff like that that I want to get onto the network that we're talking about. Outs for kids that give them an avenue to deal with their problems when so many kids are dealing with depression, these
Yeah.
days. So,
Well,
so
we've got a lot of people that have jumped on. I just want to point them out real quick.
yeah.
Um, I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's get some questions. Come on, ask me some questions. I've worked in the video game business. I've worked in the TV and film. What do you got?
Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hold on one
All
second.
right. Yeah, if anybody's watching, write down a question. I can't see the screen, but Doc can, and I will answer questions. I've worked on a lot of games. You can't even count how many. 28 years. Elder Scrolls Online, Mortal Kombat, Silent Hill, Elder Scroll. What is it? Heroes of Might Magic. That was the first game I worked on. It's on its like 8th sequel now, all these years later.
Yeah, that was actually Kevin Watt's question. What games have you done? The people that jumped on, we got Jason, Nancy, Lorna, Eva, Richard, Karen, O'Brien, Riley, Mark, Thomas,
Awesome.
Stormy, Jane, Ricky, Smith,
Stormy.
Jane, yeah, another Shane, Julia, Chris, Kevin Watt,
Wow.
Donna, Dana, Kathy, Jill,
Holy
Jasmine,
cow.
Tasha, Darren, Cox. Hey, brother, how's it going?
This is
Chris,
a huge show.
Yeah, Chris D. I love Chris D. She's over in California. Jessica DeVry, Kim Bass, Silk, Mike, George.
I feel like I'm in Romper Room and I see George and
Yeah, we got Shia.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Beth and Jessica Stevens, who you know.
I love Jessica.
GSD Studios. Reba, Lori, Sharon, Jeffrey, Shelly, and Amelia. Oof.
Wow! Holy cow!
Yeah.
Is this like your biggest? This is like one of your bigger audiences for a little guy like me. I've been on your show before. This is massive. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching. Just to add to the list of games I'm proud of that I worked on, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. It was PlayStation's in the top 50 greatest games of all time, and I built 7 of the levels in that game, and that was kind of an artistic breakthrough at the time when that game came out. I mean, we had a 2-to-1 pixel ratio on there. You can get right up to the wall on any of those walls in that level, and you don't lose any resolution. We did that before anybody. Mortal Kombat Shelly Monks. Here, I'll just show you something that's hanging right in front of me. This is kind of a cool thing. Oops.
It was a cool thing.
Yeah. This is the cover of one of our game covers here. PlayStation magazine. We had every single person in the team signed it. Yeah, I'm blurring out because the green screen's failing, but everybody in the team signed it, and I was the only one that thought to do that. So I'm actually the only guy that's got all the signatures of course, I'm dropping everything, Doc. But I was the only one that was savvy enough to get all of those amazing team members on there, and one of them in particular was our animation director, who went on to direct and game design God of War. So we have some legends on that thing, and we had some really talented people. It was a really small team of like 22, 23 people when we really needed a team that was about 60 to make a game like that. Mm-hmm. We had Ed Boon wasn't really interested in the project. I don't work in the game business, so I can say this now, but he really didn't have any interest in this project at all, because it was an adventure version of Mortal Kombat. As you know, it's always been kind of a fighter. They did make an attempt early on that Ed Boon tried to make an adventure game, and it's their black mark in their MK history. So when we came along trying to do the exact same thing that they failed miserably on, Ed just kind of kept his distance. But once he saw what we were doing, he jumped on and actually really helped us a lot with the MK lore. And we really kind of catered to the fans. I did. I loved Mortal Kombat, and I wanted to go in there and kind of cater to all that fun stuff, because you had to make sense of this crazy world that made no sense at all. I mean, you had like industrial looking stuff, then you had this temple, the Chinese temple. It was just very mishmashy. They never had a plan when they did all those levels as to trying to tie them together in a cohesive way. So when we actually did make sense of it all with kind of portals to different worlds, it all worked. I mean, Smash Brothers type mechanics. It was got I think an 8.2 on the Metacritic, which was huge for a small team like ours. And I think it kept midway from going bankrupt one extra year. So.
Yep. Sorry.
Yep. You getting a Skype call? All right.
Yeah, it was Don Phillips. I'll have to call him back.
All right.
I said I was
All
going
right.
to call him after the show, but
Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I asked, and maybe you got something. Anybody?
all a bunch of great show. It's awesome. Can't wait to see you in just over a week.
Well, hey, let's talk about the Haunted Mansion. I just did the Haunted Mansion 50th anniversary painting, which sold out at the event. It was one of the fastest selling paintings. I'm working with the parks now. I'm doing more paintings with them, but that 50th anniversary painting took me 2 years to paint. I got my career started. It was the inspiration for me doing what I do. If anybody watches my bio at wishpictures.com, just play it back if you didn't. Just wishpictures.com. You can see my bio. I actually talk about what started my career, and it was I was a little 5-year-old boy on Pirates of the Caribbean, and I thought I looked at my mom and I said, "Hey, the robots, they look so real." And I was looking at the Blue Bayou restaurant next, as I was going through, thinking that they were real robots. So it really inspired me to want to kind of be an Imagineer and figure out how to blur those lines between fantasy and reality. And now I'm doing exactly that. But I got to do that amazing painting and be a part of this incredible celebration, 50 years. And I was the first person to go on the attraction in the after party event on the official day. So I was the first guy in 50 years to go on the Haunted Mansion. That was a big deal for me.
Wow.
Because I love the company. The company's done a lot for me over the years. And I know it's got some warts and some things, but what Walt stood for and what he tried to bring to people, this idea of magic, fun for the whole family, the wildlife shows that he did. You want to know how those wildlife shows came about? It's fascinating because I never really knew why he got into that, because he never really wanted to educate people. He just wanted to entertain them. And if they learned something along the way, great. I'm doing a little kind of different approach. I'm trying to teach people. And if they get entertained by it, great. So I'm the opposite of what Walt did with those shows, with my show. But he actually wanted to use footage, real life footage. You actually know, originally brought the Bambi. He was doing Bambi. He wanted to have the artist with the animals right in front of them, drawing them from life. But they weren't behaving like they should, because they're under the spotlights and they're acting very skittish, and you weren't seeing their actual behavior. So he said, "Hey, go get some footage, guys, with some cameras." And when he saw that footage, he thought, hey, that's I can make a story out of that. I can tell a story with this footage. There's a story that hasn't been told about these animals, and we could do it in a funny way. So that's how that show came about. He was using all of that as stock footage for his animators. But later it became, everything that Walt touched, he just had a really intriguing way of handling those subjects. And I'm trying to do the same thing with what I'm doing with Friendlians. We've got products associated with it, and we've got this awesome toy, literally picking up where Disney left off on animatronics. I could do the Tiki room in my living room right now with my toys. I'm very proud of that. And the guy that invented the technology is Rod Nakamoto. He invented the very first sophisticated sound card for Apple. It was called the Mockingboard back in the day. So I've got him that created this amazing technology. And we just got a lot of really cool people coming on the project that I can't talk about just yet, that are just bringing so much amazing life into it, it's making it so you just want to be a part of something like this. So I'm very proud of it.
Wow.
So.
Now, you not only are you've done this, but your other claim to fame was Grow-ems.
Yeah.
A little bit about that.
Well, as the housing market crashed, I left working on Elder Scrolls Online. That was a $300 million video game, and I was in Maryland at the time when all this went down and the housing market. Everybody was like laying off everybody, and I was one of the people that was cut from the project and trying to figure out what to do. So I came back to California, and this guy out of nowhere finds me through a mutual friend who said, "Hey, there's this guy that can do all these things. You should hit him up and have him design your character." So at the time, I wasn't a character designer, so I hired my friend Gavin Dell, who is a character designer for Disney, of course. And I gave him descriptions of what of what I wanted the characters to look like. We had VeggieTales out there, so I didn't want I didn't want to replicate VeggieTales, which was when I saw VeggieTales, not to knock it, but because it's hugely successful and Groms really wasn't. It's successful in its own realm, but we didn't have a movie or anything like that made of it. The kind of success that VeggieTales did. But when I looked at the VeggieTales characters, I was thinking, hey, you can't even tell what vegetables these things are. So that was the first thing that I did. I said, look, if you're going to design something, I want the zucchini. We're going to actually start with an actual zucchini. We're going to start with a CG tomato that looks like a tomato. And then we're going to build a character around that. So the way that I handled it was I just basically said, the character is going to be the costume. The character is going to be the name. The name of the character. That's what's going to be entertaining about it. The name of the character, the costume, and what his job is going to be, and ultimately the voice is going to be funny. So for example, we started off with the names of these characters. So we had like Elvis Parsley and Frank Cilantro and Duke the Cuke and Captain Eggplant. I mean, they're just funny names, that we were as silly as we can make them, to get people to pay attention to the character. And then I would hand over the concept art. I talked to Gavin about, what job I wanted the character to be. So the very first character we did was Duke the Cuke. He's a cucumber. And I thought, what can I do with a cucumber? That's kind of a ridiculous vegetable. Let's turn him into the sheriff of the town. But I want him to be kind of like a Barney Fife type character meets SpongeBob. So I started kind of playing around with the voice. I started becoming the voices of these characters. And, it's funny because I did 100 of these lessons. We built 75 CG characters. I mean, I have more characters in Groms than Warner Brothers does. And it was only until after I did all of these things and the company, I was done with the project, that I realized I'm kind of reliving Walt's life. I mean, he had to do, Mickey Mouse. He did it out of kind of budgetary constraints. He couldn't find anybody to do it. So he just did it. And he didn't know how to animate back in the day. And when I went to the family museum, there's this little recording of him saying, well, back in the day when we first started, it really wasn't animation. It was just kind of puppeteering characters. And at the time, I wasn't an animator. I had to learn how to puppeteer these characters. So the first attempt of animation was we used Flash. So I rendered the characters out in 3D, but I turned them into kind of paper dolls. And I was like puppeteering them with Flash and had their mouths open and close with the eyes blinking. It was really terrible animation. Later, we got a budget, and I learned how to do CG 3D animation, full articulated animation. I learned how to do that. So I got to a point where I can kind of have characters that were standing and talking heads. I couldn't have them running around because I wasn't that good, but I can have talking head characters. So I started playing around with the voice because I thought that would really kind of help my friend Gavin out as to what the character would ultimately look like. And I said, Barney Fife meets, but he's not as smart as anybody. He's like a kid version of Barney Fife. So I thought, he's a cowboy, and there's this famous actor that used to do all kinds of character roles on the old westerns like Rifleman and stuff like that. He was the gold prospector kind of guy that would come on. And he kind of sounded like this. I'm sure you know the actor I'm talking about. He used to come on and he'd always talk like, I forgot what that actor's name was, but I took that voice and then I kind of made him a younger character in my tone. So then Duke the Cuke sounded like this. He kind of sounded like he had a little bit. And that became the Duke the Cuke character. And then after I did that, I had to come up with a superhero, a Captain Eggplant. And he sounded like I totally stole, Buzz Lightyear. So I started with Buzz Lightyear's voice, but then I turned him into a Buzz Lightyear where he's so full of himself that he's smiling all the time because he's looking at he's like an egomaniac. He's staring at he loves his muscles. Captain Eggplant here. I'm a superhero. I'm a super duper cat. It kind of became kind of a joke and everybody would make fun of him. He didn't take himself so seriously. So I started coming up with personalities and characters. And again, we created 75 different vegetables with characters, and we got featured on The View. And we didn't even have a product on the shelf yet that was ready for prime time. we had some small kits. So the idea is that we create all these awesome vegetable gardening kits that were themed pizza garden, ratatouille garden, and inside the pizza garden we basil, tomato, bell peppers, things that would be on a pizza, 4 seeds, 4 different plants. And then we would use these cartoons that would teach the kids how to grow them. And they'd get all those cartoons for free. So I created 100 cartoons that would teach the kids how to grow these vegetable gardens. And we got featured on The View. Right after that, we got put into every Lowe's store across the country. And then my part was done. And that's when I decided to move on to doing my own thing and make my own business now that I knew how to do, make my own empire, basically, so that's what I'm doing now. We just started. We desperately need to get in the stream of attention because nobody knows about us. We got #1 rated. Everybody that has accidentally found us loves it, but now we just need to get into the, we need to get in the spotlight, get in the stream. Yeah, and it's hard to, you spend money on boosts and Facebook, and all the fake accounts drain your money, and it goes nowhere. So we're really trying to find different ways to do it. So that's why I love coming to your to Disclosure Con. We had like, we had a couple thousand people show up that thing. It was surprising, I didn't think we'd have as many people as we did, but everybody showed up, and it was quite a fun event. And I'm happy to come back because we had a blast. So this year I'm coming back with some swag. So we've got some. Let me see if I got some things in here. We've got some Friendly and stickers that I'm handing out, and this is the first time I'm debuting the stickers. So we got some stickers. Now I know Jessica's watching, and her favorite character is Harmony. So we've got the Harmony character stickers, and then we've got these really. I've got some Friendly and pins that we're handing out. Let me see if I can get one out of the package here. These Friendly and pins are a big deal. I always liked the members only jackets, so I always thought, it's nice to put something on you that says you believe in something. So it's going to be backwards, but there's this little Friendly and pin. It's going to not be in focus. Of course not. Anyway, really awesome pin. Yeah, it's not going to. Anyway, it says Friendlyans do good. So it's our do good pin. And it's just something that the kids can wear, parents can wear to support the project. And we'll be offering those. I'm coming with a pirate painting that I did. And hey, I just released my Goonies 35th anniversary painting.
I know.
Man,
it's awesome. It's
killing. It's killing. The proofs are selling out. So go to wishpictures.com and check it out. It's just this is my favorite movie of all time, and I made friends with the owner of the property, who owns the Goonies house.
Nice.
And she's offered to have me come up there and stay at the house during the 35th. We're going to auction off the original, and profits of that are going to go to her to help maintain the house. So if you're a Goonies fan, get a print because she, it's gonna really help her out when she got the property. A little history about that. So fans of the Goonies are gonna love this story. When she got the property, it was condemned. It was going in full foreclosure. They were gonna condemn it, and it had rats, mice. Every room was dripping with water because there was holes in the roof. I mean, the production had just been sitting. And who really wants to have a house where everybody's going to want to come and take a picture? So she actually rescued it, put in hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring it back to life. People are ripping off pieces of her house. They're going up, taking pictures in her window. I mean, this is a woman that's trying to live her life. And then the 20th anniversary happens, a few years back. And she literally had 1,000 people coming to her property every month. So when I heard about this story, I thought, I could do some good for her. So I did this painting. She gave me permission to paint her house. I've given her copies of the files, and she's going to be printing. So if you actually show up at her house next year, and she's available, I wouldn't say knock on her, but if she sees you out there, she'll offer you one of the prints for sale. That's a great keepsake. And it actually goes to helping her benefit from all of this traffic, because the city, the whole city, Astoria, benefits considerably. They even put up a sign in front of her property, hey, this is the Goonie house. But they didn't allow her to get any zoning for turning it into bed and breakfast. She could have turned that into a property that people could have stayed there, so she could have made a little bit of money off it.
Oh, an Airbnb, definitely.
Exactly. She could have had like, $500, $600, $1,000 a night, depending on how far she went, but they won't allow her to do that. So basically she gets all the foot traffic and none of the benefits. So I had to being the friendlian that I am, I had to step in and do this amazing piece of artwork so that people could, she could benefit from that. So, go to the website, check it out, get a print. I think we got prints as low as $29. I'd like to believe that's reasonable. We got some poster sized ones that are like 60, and then we've got proofs. And on the proofs, I'm only doing 25 artist proofs. Normally I would do a lot more than that, but I'm only doing 25. And on those canvas proofs that are 18 by 28, I'm hand embellishing them with paint. And when you turn the lights off, the windows glow.
Nice.
And I can work little details in there. I could put your name on the little where it says Walsh House. I can actually put your name there, personalize it to you, so you're actually living in the Goonies house. I dedicate the back, and it's just an awesome keepsake if you're a fan of that film. So those are the kind of things that I like doing with my time. So painting for Disney, doing these amazing animations for Friendlians. I've got a couple book covers and album covers and all kinds of crazy products I've done artwork for over the years out there. It's been a good life. I've had an amazing career working with some incredibly talented people with some of the biggest companies in the world. So if you want to know anything about Disney, or if you want to know anything about the video game industry, here's your opportunity to ask me a question, and I will wholeheartedly answer it truthfully. If you ever wanted to know something about these companies.
And while they're typing away, let me just say hello to some newcomers. Amy, she's from Texas. Scott, Aaron, Paul, and Melinda and Damon has joined. And let's see, who was it that said this? Jessica is just like awesome. She loves the character. She loves the colors. Let's see. Oh, Renee Ryan says portals make everything work.
Yeah,
you were talking about that earlier.
Wormholes,
right?
Wormholes, man. And just as an off ramp here for that, we've discovered some pretty incredible things about wormholes recently, or not wormholes, but black holes recently. I mean, the whole science has been upended this year with how we view that. And I think we're getting closer to a lot of things coming to light about the universe. I really do. I think we're on this generation will see amazing things happen, I think.
Yeah. Jessica says she wants a few of those pens. Renee Ryan says, oh, snap, Goonies.
Yeah, I know.
Jessica says the painting is amazing.
Tell everybody that painting is it's my favorite painting. I put my soul into that.
I know, and I'm hoping maybe you'll put one aside, and I'll get one after Disclosure Con. Hopefully I'll sell,
I'll bring some to you. I'll bring some.
That's awesome. Well, let's see. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them up. If not, everybody's just throwing up a lot of hearts and thumbs up. So I
appreciate the love. That's what Friendlians do.
Yes. And if anything, you guys can actually meet Joel at Disclosure Con next weekend at the Haunted Casino Resort, October 5th and 6th.
Bring the kids. I love when the kids come up, because I'll have things for kids.
Yeah.
Aside from all the awesome little trinkets I've got, I'm going to have some original works of art that I'm going to practically give away to the kids. It's going to cost a little bit, but it won't break the bank. It'll be something everybody can afford. So I'm going to have some custom watercolors and some drawings that people can buy right there. So the first day is just, I'm not going to hold anything back. So it might all disappear on the first day, like it did last year. Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, Doc, but when it all kind of disappeared, I had to paint and draw a bunch of stuff.
I know. You were just sitting there,
I was drawing all day. Yeah, I was having to make more because I didn't expect so many people to want to get that stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll have more this time, so we'll have a lot for everybody.
Let's see. So children are welcome. It's all ages, and if your parents, don't worry about the babysitter. Kids 12 and under are free. There are team price tickets as well. You can get those at disclosurecon.com or Big Kid Gamers Lounge in Lakeside, Sweet Peace Infusion Cafe in Pine Top, and the Lodge Bar and Grill in Pine Top. So
We've
You're gonna
had a
bring all that, huh?
yeah, we've had a full hour
Oh
here.
gosh, yeah, it's gone by quick. Um, how? Well, I'll let you read that one a little later. There will be a lot of kids there. Yeah, and it's we're having cosplay and costume contest. We've got plaque awards and stuff. So, if you like to
Yeah.
wear your cosplay, do so.
Yeah, I planned on having my fiance and my kids come out with me, but yeah, circumstances changed it. Otherwise, I'd have my family there. But it's such a fun thing to come to. You wouldn't think that there are a lot of things there for kids, but there's a lot of interesting people there that I think fascinate the younger audiences. I mean, certainly everybody wants to know about aliens. Before we wrap up here, I'll tell your audience a private conversation I had with Steven Spielberg. How's that for an ender?
Oh, okay,
You guys
okay.
want to
Hold on.
stick around for that?
I have to put some hearts in there. I'm gonna put some hearts up right now and some
Yeah.
wows.
So
Let's hear it.
I got to meet him and have cocktails with Steven, and I asked him the question that everybody would want to ask the guy. What's the secret of your success? Is what I asked him. But I asked him in a very specific way, and I think he was kind of caught off guard because um, he had never been asked it the way I asked it. So it intrigued him, and he actually gave me the answer. And this answer is a really important thing for anybody out there trying to develop anything, really. Because I'm going to give you the keys to the castle right now, here, straight from Steven Spielberg. So I asked him about, how did he know that E.T. was going to be such a massive success, where there's just everybody loved it. I mean, everybody. I remember kids and adults, they just fell in love with that movie. It was a massive success for him. How did he know that it would be? Because up to that point, there weren't any alien movies that were like friendly aliens. They're all wanting to kill you. He's like, it's funny you should say that, Joel, because that's exactly how I felt when I was a kid. I'd watch Twilight Zone, and I saw this one episode that I thought, hey, finally the aliens are here to help us, But then it was, How to Serve Man, and we all know how that episode ended. There was a cookbook for cooking people, and he was so kind of like put off by that episode. He went out in his backyard and he's looking up at the stars. Like, I think he lived out in Arizona at one point in his life, and he had access to all the stars, and he could see them out there because there's no city lights, and he lived out in the middle of nowhere. And he looked up at the stars and he said, man, with all these stars, there's got to be a lot of aliens out there. Where's the friendly alien? Where's the one that maybe he's lost, and I can hide him in my closet, and and I thought, I had this epiphany. I'm like, maybe there's a lot of people that feel like I do, feel like, yeah, where's that story? So when he got older, it was just like a natural thing for him to tell that story. And his wife at the time helped him with the script and everything. And he said, if you look at the top grossing films of all time, like the top 50, they all follow this very simple rule, which is that they were stories that people were already telling themselves long before the storyteller came along and told that story. And he says, I can give you some examples. I said, okay, I'm listening. He said, well, when you were a kid, didn't you think that your toys were talking without you around when you went to the bathroom break? Yeah, we all did. Toy Story, pretty big success, wouldn't you say? And he said, when your parents came in and told you to pick up your toys and come and do your homework, and you didn't want to do that, wouldn't it have been nice to see, have a time machine, go back in time, see what kind of parents kind of kids they were when they were kids, Back to the Future did pretty well, didn't it? And I said, well, the Bible, it's the most translated book in history. Wouldn't it be nice to find those artifacts? Ring any bells?
Yeah.
Oh, and he was a guy that everybody could identify with. He was an everyman guy, and but he got the hot girls, and he could get hurt. He wasn't like Indiana Jones. He wasn't like a typical hero. He could get hurt, So it was a good story. And I said, wait a second, Steve. He's telling me this. I'm like, wait a second, Steven. I worked on Titanic as a set painter, and that's the biggest grossing film of all time. Nobody wants to be on a ship where everybody's going to die. I mean, that was the biggest maritime catastrophe in history. I mean, it was a tragedy. And think about it. I mean, it was such a tragedy, something that you didn't want to have happen to you, that it's still relevant. That's why that movie was so big. He's like, actually, that's my best example of my philosophy. James and I, we know why that worked out so well. He's like, let me ask you this simple question, Joel. How long did Jack know Rose before he's willing to die for her? 1 day, 2
Yeah.
days? I bet there are a few girls wanted that kind of chivalry. They're willing to die for you because they loved you so much. And the guys, I bet there's a few guys out there that were watching that as a kid, young men that they had lint in their pockets and struggling, and they'd love to steal away the hot chick from the rich snob that was the jerk.
Mhm.
And there were kids out there that wanted that in their lives so desperately that they watched that movie over and over and over and over. I'm like, oh yeah, you got me. That's quite profound when you think about it like that. Now when you see a trailer for a movie, ask yourself that question. Is this a story that I was telling myself before the trailer came along? Is this really a story that needed to be told? 9 times out of 10, you'll say, nope. This is very specific to a very specific group of people that will love that idea. And the rest of them won't, because they don't care about that subject. So no, I mean, and it's, I work for Disney, so I don't want to talk negatively about them, but I had my hopes set real high for the Tomorrowland movie. When I saw the teaser, I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I wanted. I want to see what Walt was going to do. Walt's futuristic city. I mean, that's what the whole trailer was like.
Mhm.
And the first 15 minutes was all giving me exactly what I wanted. But then it spent the rest of the hour and 45 minutes telling me how bad of a human being I am for living,
Mm.
and berating me for my crimes, and making me feel bad about being a person on planet Earth. Now that's we need to pay attention to what we're doing to the planet and the world and society, no doubt. But that's not why you go to movies, to be preached to. You don't go to movies to feel bad about yourself, with a nice little tie up, script at the end that is, hey, we could do this, kids. That's not what I want. I wanted to see what Walt would have done, what kind of world it could be, because then I would have been inspired to go that route, um, it was more heavy-handed than it was 15 minutes of what I wanted and the rest of it that I didn't.
Mm.
And so when I'm approaching Friendlyans or any project that I work on, I'm really thinking about what Steven told me, because obviously he knows what he's doing and he's an excellent storyteller. And if you apply that idea to any product that you're thinking about making, it really makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Do people really want that product? Is it fixing a problem? Is it solving a problem, that people desperately need solving? So that's, again, another reason why I created the Friendly Network, because I want to create a generation of kids that grow up thinking that way, thinking about problems that need to be solved, and they're the key to that. That's a wonderful future if we all learn how to work together to solve problems that have plagued humanity despite our differences, just working together, for a common good. And everybody should think that way. So that's my mission.
Wow.
So hopefully your fans liked that little story. I've got other stories, but
when you watch a playback, it's just like hearts are just shooting just constantly. Yeah. We had Melinda join us in the last bit. Damon, Samantha, and Rob Hefner, the Birdman Media. He's like the legend here on the mountain. So thank you, Rob,
awesome.
for checking out the show tonight.
Is Rob going to be at Disclosure Con? I'll say hello.
No, he actually wrote here that he's not going to be able to make it. He's bummed that he's missing it.
Next time, next year.
Well, he still gets credit in the program book because
Right.
he helps. He had me on his show last week, and he's just a really amazing supporter, and he's like the guy here on the mountain. So having
let me know if you want me on your show. I'll come out and I'll talk. I'll talk your ear off.
Yeah. Renee Ryan says, she said she's gonna miss it, but she will be here next year. And Jason Blair joined us at the tail end of the show. So, Joel,
yeah,
you're just a bundle of wow.
It's my favorite word.
Such an amazing life, and all that you've done. I mean, it's part of history. So it's pretty awesome. And if any of you want to meet Joel, like I said, just come out to Disclosure Con next weekend, October 5th and 6th at the Honda Casino Resort. You can get your tickets online, disclosurecon.com, and actually meet him. You said you'll be doing work right there at the table again, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be drawn right at the table to keep myself occupied as people come through and just come up and say hello. I'm very approachable and I'm excellent with kids. I have 4 children of my own, 2 boys, 2 girls, and I was a single dad for the last 8 years until recently when I met my fiance. But um, kids are very easy for me to talk to, and if you got a kid that's crying, just bring them to me. I'm the kid whisperer. Yeah, I'm a giant sequoia. I mean, I'm 6'4", so if they don't stop talking just by looking at
They're
me,
just gonna look at you and go, "I am Groot."
yes,
You're so
you
big.
don't know the power. Yeah, no, it seems to arrest any sort of crying that happens when they're looking up at me. They don't know what to make of me. So.
Yeah. Well, Joel, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks again for being at Disclosure again this year.
Hey, thanks for
Um,
having me, man. I'm truly, this is like, out of all the I went to Comic-Con, okay? I've been to Comic-Con, I've been to the biggest cons. I actually really love your what you've done. I really kind of, I look forward to it in the year.
well,
Totally
thank
true.
you. And we're gonna have some more fun. The VIP party. Wait till you see what I've done to the Lodge Bar and Grill. It
Ooh.
is a world of lasers.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I love lasers.
You're gonna get
Yeah.
tagged anywhere, and we're not talking, prom night or wedding
No.
lasers. Yeah,
No, you're talking about fun laserium type
yeah,
stuff. I'm sure.
thick beams. Don't look in them. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be above their head, but
I love it. That's fun
yeah.
stuff.
And
More of that. I'm all about lighting.
and they built a UFO. I had nothing to do with this one.
Are you serious?
They built one for the party.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Now, hey, one little small end cap here. When I was working at Foundation Imaging, they're the guys that did all the CG for Star Trek, the TV shows.
Mhm.
They did all the effects. They had the actual original USS Enterprise, the one that Kirk. Yeah, and it's the size of a VW Bug, and I got to take a peek inside, and it's all really low tech. Just it's not even fiber optics. It was just all kind of crazy lighting, and it was all hand light, like Christmas lights on the inside. It's amazing what they did back in the day with that, but it was kind of a privilege to see that model. So I'm sure that your guys could probably do stuff like that these days with fiber optics and make it look really cool. Yeah. Looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time.
Yes, we will. All right. Well, thank you so much. And folks, let me just make sure I got everybody here. Jason jumped on. Renee said everyone rocks. Mike says another great show, another awesome guest. It has been a really great week. So
the pleasure is mine. Seriously.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll call you here in a minute.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon. And let's see, go over here. And there we go. All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Joel Christopher Payne, and he'll be at Disclosure Con. So if you are into art or Disney stuff or anything like that, come on out, check him out. Loving all the hearts, man, just constant. Love it. I will be back tomorrow, believe it or not, for round 5 this week with our surprise guest. His name is Jim Goodall. He worked at Area 51 on designing a little spy. Well, actually, it wasn't. It's a very large spy plane called the SR-71. So, if you got any friends that like to fly or pilots of any sort, have them watch the show. Share the link. I'll post it either later tonight or tomorrow, and it's going to be pretty cool. I am so stoked about this. He's going to be at Disclosure Con too. We'll have him speak next year, and I'm going to be working on something with him. Man, this has been an amazing year, and all of you have helped make it. All of my guests, just thank you so much. It's going to be an awesome 2020. You think, wow, I'm giddy like a schoolboy right now. So we're just going to call it quits. It is, we went about an hour and 20 minutes. So thank you, everybody. And Lord willing, I'll see you all tomorrow right here, 1028 live on my Facebook page. And then I will also be reposting the video with intro and outros on YouTube. So if you have any friends or family that don't have Facebook, but you want them to see the shows or see the guests, you can share that link with them from YouTube. Other than that, my name is Doc Skinner. This is 1028 Live. I'm out of here. Hopefully I'll hit the right button this time. Good night, everybody. Wait, did I stop it? Did I stop it? I think I did. Bye.